Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and today's question for you all lovely people and listeners to answer is value for money. What do you consider something to be, or how do you judge value for money? Now, Warhammer is not a cheap hobby. It's not that expensive really now, especially Warhammer 40k with the Combat Patrol box game, Combat Patrol type game, where you just have to spend £95, which is usually a saving, and that's your game. You don't need to expand much beyond that. So now this is something I always find incredibly interesting when discussing any way of saving you guys money. I always try to, or when I look at a Combat Patrol box, and I break it down, I always try to think about value for money. Now, one way of judging value for money, especially with boxes like Combat Patrols, are savings. How much do you save? Which is always a good one. And the other one, which is most common within the 40k community, is pounds per points. Now, pounds per points is a relatively good one. It's quite objective, and it does make certain armies look a lot better than others, such as Custodes. Custodes is one of the best pounds per points models, armies. But you do obviously have a smaller army. So if you look at something like the Tyrannid Combat Patrol box and you break it down, £95 per number of miniatures, it would look better value than if you did it with a Combat Patrol box of Adeptus Custodes. Obviously, because of the amount of miniatures is so much more in the Tyrannid one. Now the way I do it, and this is the way it's the way my dad taught me to do it, and while we were talking about this was some years ago, I was talking with my dad before he passed away, and we were talking about video games. And believe it or not, the game that came up, we ended up talking about Call of Duty, and I was saying, look, he goes, we were just talking about games, and he goes, you play some games. I'm like, what's the longest you played on a game? And at that point, the longest I'd spent on a game was Modern Warfare 3 on multiplayer. I'm not a big multiplayer anymore. I kind of got out of it. It's just lost interest. I like to play a decent single player, and I've gone back to the old retro games. But yeah, and he said, well, how long do you play? And I said, well, 48 hours at the time. He said, well, if you can round it up to 50. I went, all right then, how much did the game cost you? I said, well, it cost me a £5. I got it second hand. He goes, well, that's 10p an hour. You've paid 10p an hour for your game, which is a pretty good bargain. Now, this is something we could actually work and add to 40k, is price per hour, or price per game, pound per game. Now, if we go back to Custodes, especially the Combat Patrol box, we can kind of half the value, double the value, I should say, when you realise that the Custodes, guards, and the Sisters of Silence can also be used in Horus Heresy. So that makes it a fantastic value for money, because now you've got 3 squads which can use in a second game. You could probably proxy the Virtus Praetors for, Horus Heresy, but let's just keep it as normal as possible here without any proxies. So that's 3 squads out of the 4 squads, valuable in a second game. So that brings it up to an extra 75%, give or take, alright? I'm not going to do the exact maths here. It's 35 plus 75, so it would be 35, 70, £107.50 of it would be, extra value, because used in the second game. But there's also the addition of painting the models. Now, Custodes aren't that difficult. They're gold. It's quite simple. Black, brown, gold dry brush, gold light, and a silver dry brush. Again on top. If you really want to make it look good, gold, white and flesh, then silver, and of course you'd add in whatever detail. Quite simple really. So you would spend less time painting that than you would, say, your Tyrannid army. Now, or Imperial Guard. Now, Tyrannid and Imperial Guard armies and Orc armies, being massive horde armies, will take you longer to paint. And if you really enjoy it, that would mean it would be £1 per hour. So let's say 10 guardsmen takes you 20 hours to paint, 2 hours on a guardsman. That would be, what's that, £35 again. Divide that by 10 is £3.50. You're looking at £1.75 a model value, because as how given given how much time it takes to paint. 2 hours a model. There you go. So it actually adds more value. And of course, the longer you take, the better it looks, and the more you enjoy it. Because I would hope that if you were to spend more than 3 hours on a single guardsman, that you were doing it out of fun and not out of some torture, some CIA torture telling you to paint a guard army. If you are, leave a message down below and I'll get someone else to help you. Anyway. And then of course, one bit of value for money is the books. Now this was another way I was looking at. I will come back to the models in a minute, but the books as well. If you read comics, like I do, I read 3 comics now. I used to read a lot more, but I just read Spawn, Scorched, King Spawn. I used to read Batman, Superman, Green Lantern. I used to have a huge collection of different ones, and I just broke it down and just gone to Spawn. Now, one thing is the graphic novels. Now, some guys like Image are not too bad. You're going to cost pay about £15 a graphic novel, so it's not too bad. But some Marvel books, and I'm not joking here, can sting you over 30 quid. The Sonic, we'll go to IDW, and the Sonic the Hedgehog #1 omnibus costs £60. Okay, that's Sonic the Hedgehog from IDW. The omnibus, the big hardback one, is £60, which is more expensive than pretty much any book Games Workshop has ever released. For rule books, Horus Heresy, 40k, you name it, it's more expensive. Yet it doesn't number the same pages. So if we look at that way, the Horus, and given the right, first if you look at the number of pages, we look at that, we see obviously the Horus Heresy rulebook is worth more. And then if we look at how many times we read it, like the Sonic the Hedgehog book is actually pretty good. It's a lot of fun. It's not bad. I quite enjoy it. But the fact of I play Horus Heresy a lot means I'm reading the rulebook a lot. Probably means I'm reading that book a lot more. So it's getting more use. And once again, adding more value to the book. More use is better value. Because if you only use one thing once, if you only read one book once, no matter how much good it might be, if you're only going to read it once, that's all the value you're going to get out of it. You're not going to get much more value out of that. If you read a book twice, it's more value for money because you've enjoyed it twice. 3-4 times. The more times you enjoy something, the better value it is. Again, like I said, I've gone back to retro games, and I'm finding a lot of the games that I played and still have from the PlayStation 1 era and the N64 and all that, like even Dreamcast. Obviously, these games are getting more better value out of it because I'm spending more time on them. Again, with the right now, my #1 game I've played more than anything else is Skyrim, and I got that for a tenner. It was on sale on the Sony store, and I've put over 100 hours in it. So that's £10 an hour, which is fantastic. Wait, hold on. No, £1 an hour now. £1 for every hour spent. Yep. 100 hours. 100. No, 10p an hour. So yeah, it's 10p an hour. My maths is bad today. Yeah, about But basically, it's got a lot better value now. I've spent over 100 hours in it. That's the point I was trying to make. Badly, but I made it anyway. So therefore, the game becomes a lot better value. Now, a game that I've really enjoyed but I won't be going back to is Bulletstorm. I've played it twice. I've got it twice, and honestly, once I've completed it, I found no reason to go back to it. So even though I got that for, I think I got that for $7.99 again on the PlayStation Store. Not even half the value of how much value that Skyrim has given me. And again, we can see this is what I was going about. Let's go back to the models when we talk about painting. Now, again, more time you spend in time enjoying the hobby, painting, reading the rules, the more you're going to get out of it, and the more value for money that it's going to be. It's going to feel like better value for money. Another good example is I collect several armies. But I've got to a point that I'm building up to 1,000 points, and that's the army done. I'm not going over 1,000 points for each army. 1,000 points is my limit for each army, and then that's it. I'm calling it a day. Paint it, build it, go paint it, use it. Because I'm finding I'm playing more 1,000-point games than I am with 2,000, 3,000 points. Even though I would prefer to play bigger games, unfortunately I just don't have time. So yeah, 1,000 points of what I'm doing. And so I have 1,000 points of Grey Knights, I have 1,000 points of Iron Warriors. Now, why am I bringing up these two? Now, the thing is, they are pretty much both the same colour. They are silver. Lots and lots of silver. Which is a change from when I just painted 100 Blood Angels. I had lots and lots of red. So, lots and lots of silver. But the more detail that is on the actual Iron Warriors, there is a lot more detail, means it's taken me a lot longer. So, the value for money I'm getting out of my Iron Warriors is a lot more because I'm having to spend a lot more time painting them. And I'm enjoying the painting them. I'm enjoying the more time I'm spending painting Iron Warriors. Again, slapping out the Grey Knights. So there you go. So, this is what I think value for money. Value for money is how much time you put into it and how much of that time you enjoy putting into it. Now, I wouldn't say that if you didn't enjoy it, honestly, I wouldn't continue on that project because you're just going to torture yourself, and it's just going to be bad for you. But if you're enjoying the time you're putting in, if you enjoy painting the models, if you enjoy doing all that, then yeah, you're going to get better time, and the value for money feels a lot better. So people who complain about price rises and stuff like that, it's because we don't want the value to change. We don't want to suddenly feel like we're spending more but have less fun doing it. And I know a lot of people complain about the models. I mean, I'll complain about the models if I don't like them for the same reason, because I've got to put the money in and I've got to enjoy painting it. And if I don't enjoy painting it, then I'm not going to feel like I'm getting the value out of it. I enjoy painting power armor a lot. I'm not a big fan of painting faces. I hate it so much, he says with an Imperial Guard army. And I'm not a big fan of painting tanks, again, with an Imperial Guard army. And so, when I can just sit here on an evening, paint hundreds, I'm not even joking when I did this, over like 100 Space Blood Angels, just painting them because I enjoy painting power armor. It took me a couple of months, and I enjoyed it. One day I wanted to see how quickly I could breeze through, a Horus Heresy army, small one, and I painted 50 Iron Warriors in a fortnight, and I loved it. I loved every minute. It took me ages. I mean, it took me most of a day for each squad, but yeah, God, I enjoyed doing that. And now I'm painting Iron Warriors for 40k, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. And so that's the important thing with value for money, is that to feel like it's actual value for money, you've got to be enjoying what you're doing. If you're not enjoying it, it's not going to feel like you're getting any value out of it. I said value a lot in this video. Most people are just going to get out of this value. So yeah. So what do you think constitutes as best value for money? Do you think it is points per pounds? Do you think it's amount of time spent doing it? Or how many games? And stuff like that. Now, like I said, to me, it's kind of a combination of three. It is pounds per points plus how much time you spent doing the hobby, how much time you spent painting, and how many games you're playing. All of that is important, and all of that brings up the whole about value, which also means why, again, Games Workshop, though, yes, is expensive, can be considered better value for money than video games. Though with video games, of course, you can wait for the second-hand market and have the prices drop considerably. Like, again, you can pick up Fallout 3 and New Vegas for £2, and you're going to have a great time for that. But if you were to buy it brand new when it came out, it was going to cost you £40, which was £10 less than a battle box back then. So yeah, but again, it depends how much time you get into it. So when it's considered, if you like with brand new video games, you can consider that actually you're going to probably get more time and value out of Warhammer and any tabletop game, because you're going to probably spend more than 100 hours working on it, playing it, painting it, etc. Anyway, that's me wrapping up this video and this little vlog. What do you think is worth value for money, or how do you judge value for money? And yeah, so comments down below. As always, I like to hear your guys' point of view. I like to hear what you guys think. I really do. I like replying and having a nice conversation going downstairs in the comment section, and let's have a look. And of course, you can comment, like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and I'll see you all again soon in the next video. I am going to be going back to Old World in a bit, but I wanted to give it a break for a bit, because I don't want to rush it all out and have everything out too soon when we're going to get some news soon, and when we get some more news, I'm going to be talking about that too. Tomorrow's video is always dependent on if there's any news worth talking about anyway. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Links to Wayland Games if you wish to save money on your Warhammer. Hey, there's value for money, saving money. Up to 20% off and free delivery after 20 quid. And of course, there's my comics as well, which is about £5. Probably, I think that one is, or is that one a £10 one? It's one of those two. But I put all the work in that one. No one else. So it's just me. And of course my merchandise, which of course I put all the work into myself. And Patreon. But as always, I'd rather you buy something and not just give me money. Unless you think I'm worth value for money, then yeah, give me money. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.